We just moved into the house. We looked out the back window and he was just sitting in the corner of the garden staring at the house. Every day I would wake up, open the curtains and he'd be waiting.
It's awkward.
I am Jen and this is Dudley's story for GeoBeats.
I've just come downstairs.
As soon as we moved in, this cat started appearing in the garden every day.
You alright, mate?
He'd be there sort of midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, just on the back doorstep.
Hello.
I decided to go and knock on some doors on the road behind us, which is where he used to come from. And funnily enough, the first door I knocked on was his family. He said, "Oh, that's actually our cat." So I said, "Well, don't worry, he's not hurt or anything, but we've just moved in behind you and he's just always on our doorstep and we were just really worried about him. But if he has a loving home, that's absolutely fine, just as long as he's okay." They apologised and said, "Hope he's not a nuisance," but, you know, we sort of just left it at that. I've never been a cat lover, always been really allergic to cats and dogs and never really lived with any animals before.
Bye.
So I wasn't really keen on making friends with this cat. I just wanted to get rid of him. We used to sort of try and shoo him away. We tried everything really to discourage him from coming into our garden, but he just wouldn't accept it. Nothing would put him off.
He's absolutely drenched.
We asked his family and they said that he had a cat flap and he could come and go whenever he wanted. So it was completely his choice to sit on our back doorstep in the snow. He could have gone home into a lovely warm house, but it was always his choice to be outside our house.
I mean, that is a rose bush.
It took a while for me to warm to him. I would say for the best part of about 5 years, it was him just being in the garden.
Why are you sitting there like that, Poppet?
And then I think as the years went on, I just was so curious about this little creature that had decided we were his friends in some way before we even really knew it. Every time I'd sit in the garden, he'd come and want to sit on my knee and cuddle up to me, and it just sort of went from there.
Having a cuddle.
The more affection I started to show him, the more he would show back, and it just went from there. And before I knew it, I'd fallen in love with him.
Leave us be.
He didn't have any ties to this house at all. The funny thing is, the previous owners had left quite a few things, and we actually found a painting of a black and white cat in the garage that had just been left. And it must have been one of their previous pets, but it just seemed really strange, the fact that there was this random painting of a black and white cat.
And they're outside, the two of us. Although, not just the two of us. Always here.
We wrote his owners a letter and said that although we completely respected that he was their pet, that if there was ever a situation where they wanted to rehome him, we would really happy to take him. And then I had a lovely text message from his owner at the time to say they'd loved him all his life, they'd had him from being a kitten and he'd always remained theirs, but they were happy for us to just continue our special friendship. So we just left it at that.
Hi!
And then March 2020, just before the UK went into lockdown, I had a text message from his owner to say that their circumstances were changing and they didn't know what was going to happen with the house and they didn't want to have to move Dudley away from an area that he'd known his whole life. So would we like to adopt him? And I instantly burst into tears and sort of threw the phone at my husband. He read the message and there was never really a discussion. It was just, yes, he's going to come and be part of our family.
Come on then, let's go inside. Come on.
There's something about Dudley that feels like he was either here before or knows a lot more than he lets on. He looks at me so intently. It's almost like he's seeing me in a way that maybe other animals or maybe even some people don't. The really strange thing is that I live with Dudley, who is the fluffiest cat in the world, and my allergies are absolutely fine. I'm still allergic to other cats. So if I go to my sister's house, I still have to take antihistamines and have my asthma inhaler, but not with Dudley. I really do think that there's something about him that's pure magic. He completely changed my heart when it comes to cats. I always say what an empty existence it was before.